Oh, yeah.
You're in the mix with DJ L7.
Yo, what's up? DGL7 motherfucking house right here. We got a, oh my god, super duper special guest, yeah? But I'm gonna let him introduce himself. Go ahead.
Hey everybody, this is Keith Frank, formerly state coordinator for the People's Party of New York State. Currently working with a group of people in the state to form a party under a different name.
Yeah. Now the thing is that, how long have you been with the People's Party?
Just about 2 years.
2 years. That's a significant amount of time, right? How long have they been active? Like since 2020, after the elections and stuff, right? Things started to pop off.
Yeah, 2017 I think they officially launched, so 5 years total.
Okay. So, all right. So you had some. So everybody's wondering right now, right? The People's Party is a fucking shit show. We got fucking Nick Brana, the sex charges, whatever, right? Yeah. But one thing that's very interesting that's not talked about, right? Even though people talk about the sex and the race stuff, is what was the state of the organization there? I have my own story there, but you know, as someone in a leadership position, what was your experience like?
So it's funny that you use that word organization, because People's Party has anything but organization.
Yeah.
The people in People's Party just refers specifically to Nick and his father and a select few of an inner circle very high up in the organization. You know, they sold to a lot of people, myself included, the idea of like a horizontal power structure. Like, we're not going to have an entrenched leader at the top with a lot of power dictating what we're doing. We're going to, you know, spread out the power and have working groups specialized in different areas that all work independently but together to build a movement of people. So we'd have a people by the people, of the people, for the people.
Yeah.
What actually happens, though, is when you come in to do the work, you get lost in this like quagmire of like micromanagement, no solutions to the problems that you're sharing with the national organization. You quickly find out that it's either Nick's way or the highway. There's no in between. And even asking very simple questions, like looking for basic resources like Zoom accounts to hold meetings in New York State where we wouldn't have a time limit or a limit on the number of people attending the meetings. Like, we'd wait 5 to 6 weeks for them to give us a link to host a meeting. They never gave us our own account. You know, so our group that came along and really started to push for this, you know, January of 2021. So, you know, a little over a year ago, we got tired of like the stalling tactics and being slowballed on getting the party off the ground. So we took it upon ourselves to go out and do research to figure out exactly what it meant to become a party in New York State, to find out how to run candidates in New York State, how to form an organization here that could do political activism and elect candidates. And we spent 6 months on that research, and just recently found out that research was completed way back in March of 2019.
Yeah.
So they had electoral strategies for our state that they didn't share with the group in New York State that was trying to do the work. And, you know, that's a pattern. That's not just my experience. I've spoken to people in 14 other states that were trying to organize with People's Party, MPP. They all had the same experience. When you get close to registering your party with your state, become an official thing that does the work, they start to like undermine you. They start to take your resources away. They start to call you an infiltrator. Like, even though you're doing what you set out to do, they somehow write that off as like you're not fulfilling what they wanted you to do. So,
so the fact that they haven't run a candidate is like a feature, not a bug, you're saying, almost.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure. So, like, you know, I've got a little bit of a background in the business world. I ran my own business. If I was working on a project and I had a goal of running a presidential candidate, I would break that down into a few steps. What do I need first? Well, I need ballot access in 50 states. Then I'd go, how do I get ballot access in 50 states? Well, each state would need at least one person coordinating in that state to research how to become a party, how to get ballot access. And I would want them to be working quickly on those things so I could get to running a presidential candidate in as many states as possible. Like, as far as I can tell, 5 years in, they don't even have people in 3/4 of the states.
Like, can you share your screen, because the Twitter is what your Twitter was hot. By the way, you guys check out this guy's Twitter. What is it, KJ Frank again? Wait, you guys share the Twitter address.
Yeah, KJF underscore NYPA. KJF underscore NYPA.
Make sure you follow that. Yeah, yo, he said some fire ass tweets last night, just like asking some. I was like, holy shit. I don't know if you could share the screen. Yeah, but that was fire.
Yeah, I don't know if I could right now.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, but you addressed a lot of situations. Keep going. I'm sorry. Yeah.
So, you know, this is nothing new for me. I've been asking these questions of Nick and company for the last year. Like, when I wasn't getting the resources that I wanted, I would ping them constantly until they would answer me. And, you know, I quickly found that I was in this like circle, this like feedback loop of this person says to talk to that person says to talk to person X says to talk to Y says to go back to the first person I spoke to. So all of this would take place over a month, bouncing between 4 or 5 different people, and I'd be no closer to getting an answer to the question that I started to ask 4 or 5 weeks ago. So if I wanted to run a presidential candidate as a new party, every meeting I had, whether it was once a month, twice a month, once a week, I would go down the list of 50 states in alphabetical order and check in with every single person that was appointed to work in that state. Where are you at? What's the research you've done? How is your membership growth going? What resources do you need from me to help you grow more?
Oh, wait
that
a second, wait a
doesn't
second.
happen.
Wait a second. Okay, so there you have the national coordinator, Big Nick, right? Yeah. Then there's this weird Phil guy who's the regional coordinator for the Mid-Atlantic region, whatever the fuck that is, right? Yeah. Was he supervising you, or what? Yeah, he was a supervisor supposedly, right? What did he do? Nothing, right?
I mean, unfortunately, not much. Phil has some health concerns that he's been public speaking about, and he's had long bouts of inactivity due to that. So he would go out for 4 to 6 months at a time where he was in recovery, and he wasn't really reachable. And in respect to him, like, you know, they would appoint a fill-in temporary coordinator in his stead while he was out.
Okay.
That person never once responded. Once, not once. I would reach out through MPP coordinates through Slack. There's 2 different versions of Slack. There's a national Slack, and then there's one for states. I'd reach out through national Slack with direct messages. I'd reach out through the state Slack with direct messages. I'd reach out through help channels that were established for the questions that I was asking and tag him in these things.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't respond. I'd email him directly. He wouldn't respond.
You know what's even more sickening, right? Like, I went through that experience too, right? Yeah, and then they were incompetent. Then they tried to buy me off. They're like, oh yeah, we'll send you like 20 shirts. I was like, I don't want fucking shirts. I need to fucking grow this party. Fuck your shirts, right? Yeah, like, this is not what this is about, t-shirts. Like, I want to fucking, you know, I need these resources.
Right. So, you know, this goes back to, you know, this time almost 2 years ago when I first started out.
Yeah.
You know, now with hindsight, I understand the delays in onboarding me because they were trying to keep me away from all the purges that were happening. They didn't want me to overlap with people on their way out. They didn't want me to see what was happening in the organization.
Absolutely. There's a lot of games.
So
also, you saw training people come in like this, right? Yeah. I swear to God, it's like a script, because if you've been for 2 years, you got to see it. I just came from watching Jimmy Dore. He's so right. Nick, you are the savior. Nick, Nick, I can't wait to serve you. It's a train. It's a steady train of this type of shit, and they know what's happening. It's fucking stupid.
So they have no infrastructure to get those people, like the people that watch Jimmy and go, oh, I want to join People's Party.
I did too, but
they go to volunteer.
Yeah.
And then, like, there's no mechanism in place to get that volunteer in touch with people in their area doing the work. Like, so once they sign up with an email, like, they never hear back from the People's Party unless they further pursue and try to find answers to how to help and where to go for help. So, like you said, we had monthly meetings, and we'd start to grow a little bit. People would come in really energized, and then they'd see like there's no infrastructure, there's no organization, there's no plan, there's no actual work to focus on. So like they drop out 1 or 2 months in. So I advocated for access to Action Network, which is this platform that MPP uses to organize their activists.
Yeah, you got to get access to that.
You know, it took me months to get access to.
I'm surprised they
never trained me on it.
I'm shocked they did. I'm shocked they gave you access, yeah.
So like you go into this portal and like you see all these people, you don't know how to use this thing. It's pretty overwhelming. So I'd ask for help on training, get no answers. I'd ask somebody else, they'd point me back to somebody. Like this feedback loop again, right? Of who to bounce around with. So finally I get into Slack and I just ask if anybody else is using it and if they could train me on it. So I got support from volunteers in other states who were having the same issues I was. They either taught themselves how to do it or knew somebody who knew how to use it and were sharing the knowledge with people. So the first time I sent an email out to our New York list, I got slapped on the wrist. I don't hear from these people for months. But the first time I send an email out to all the people in New York State, I get slapped on the wrist saying, oh, we don't want to send emails out to all these people.
Yeah, you do. Yeah,
I was like, so why? Why do we not want to send emails out to the people in New York?
Yeah.
Because we don't want to get those people involved. Now, I have theories, and I want to preface this as like, I don't know for a fact that this is the mentality or why they do this. My thought process is they're already pelting their entire Action Network with fundraising emails once a week, twice a week.
They are.
So if I come in and also start sending emails once a week, asking them to contribute here, it's going to feel like double or triple dipping. So it's going to take away from the effectiveness of those fundraising emails. If I'm also going in and pinging all these people, we're going to annoy people. They're going to drop off the email list.
But
that's why I think they don't want us to email.
I think it's control, because remember, the fundraising all still goes into their pocket, right? Because the fundraising goes, goes to national, so they get to control it. So it's not really such a big deal. But the real problem is our control. They want to be able to control. They don't want us to be able to make our own decisions, and exactly what the state party's been doing. Congratulations, by the way, right? Yeah, it has to represent the locals' interests, right? They tried to make us completely subservient. Some of the rules were like, all decisions had to be approved by them, including leadership positions. It's just garbage. Yeah, it's just like, you just look at this, and this is nothing to do with the people. This is like someone's fucking shell game.
There's a lot of conflict just around the concept of people's party.
Yeah.
Right. This group of MPP and Nick, I've come to call him the Nictator. That's my favorite term for him. The Nictator makes a decree of, this is how I would like things to run. And if you don't agree with me, then I will remove you from your position and put somebody there who will do exactly what I ask. And when that person disagrees with me, they're gone, and I'll put somebody else there. Well, as we've seen over the last couple of weeks, this relates to people that have been his right-hand man for 5 or 6 years, even before MPP, like connections he's had before MPP. So there is zero loyalty. There is zero integrity. There is zero transparency. And the people that advocate for any of those three things get brushed aside.
Yeah.
The issue now is, though, he's pushed people that aren't going to back down from him, right? Don't get it twisted. Like, other people tried, and they made a hell of an effort to get the message out there, but he's fucked with the wrong ones this time. Like, this is not going to go away this time, but we're going to make sure that it doesn't, because I want to keep the next group of people that come in behind me from being abused and thrown aside and wasting their time like I did. And like, when I say things like that, I understand it comes across as that like I'm incredibly bitter towards the Nictator and MPP.
No,
I'm
frustrated with victims, right? Yeah, you're stopping people.
Yeah, I'm frustrated with how they treat their volunteers. Yeah.
Like, whatever, right? Yeah, I'm not happy about Nick, but honestly, I don't think Nick is really the problem here, to tell you the truth, right? Yeah, I mean, he's a huge problem. I think the problem is Jimmy Dore. The thing is that, right, there's always some kook ball out there, right? Yeah, like Nick, right, who's blah, blah, blah. But he never would have been able to operate the way he did without constantly having support and the media funneling him behind with the Jimmy Dore thing. So, right, because in any business, in any political organization, Nick Brown would have been laughed off a long fucking time ago. A long time ago.
Yeah.
You have, what, 6 generations, Jim Engel, whatever. I mean, he's cool, right? Yeah, we also have, but he's also, that's contested with another Facebook group, right, that started at the time called Populist Group or something like that. Then you have Jonathan Martin, one of the few professors of the prize in the nation, right? Yeah, Lynette McClain, right, also an activist in Colorado, big props out to them. Myself, Jerry Perez, our Revolution LA, you know what I mean? Very qualified people all lining up, right? The petitioners, these for shout out to them. I hope that they give me a call. I hope we get involved. I ain't heard from y'all yet. What the fuck, yeah? Keith Frank over here, Mark Mixon, very, very able, right? Yeah. Mark Mixon, by the way, elected, right? Yeah, in chair of Washington State. They have 600 members now in New York. Y'all been having hundreds of hours of meeting, right? How many? Actually, we've been having meetings every week for how long? Maybe I don't even know when I rejoined back again. It's been so.
For myself, I've had at least 1 2-hour meeting a week since this time in 2021.
There's been like 5 meetings. There's like UPA. There's like this and that. Like, yo, he's always fucking underestimating, underselling himself.
So yeah, like,
which I respect, right?
I mean, myself, like,
yeah.
I mean, myself, I've probably put 500 or 600 hours into New York State, just in meetings and organizing and research and trying to do membership outreach. And
there's been continuous, but there's been continuous, right? Well, there's also like work, and there's quality of work, right? Your work is quality, right? Some people put 500 hours, and it's like, and there's nothing there. I'm like, get out of here, right? Yeah, Phil, 506. Sorry, Phil. What are you doing coming back, man? Yeah, I thought you resigned, right? Yeah, what is this? I just resign when I feel like it. Get the, yeah. Anyways, sorry about that. Yeah. Anyways. So
yeah, so you know, there, and that's the thing that frustrates me about the whole thing is, like, I'm not the only one that's been here and has invested time and energy into this thing.
Yeah, we actually, and, like, I showed on this, there was, like, I think our average attendance is maybe like 10, 15, 10, about 10 people, right? Yeah, 10, 15. And we've been meeting every week for, like, I think maybe a year now. If you calculate how many man hours that is, and that was all used to build these bylaws, and that was all done with no support from NOC, Nick and his whole crew. They did nothing but interfere.
Oh yeah, our only thank you for going out and writing our bylaws was to be told that our bylaws were unacceptable and we had to conform to their boilerplate bylaws, which granted the national group the authority to make every decision within the state: who's elected as chair, who's put into the secretary position, who's the treasurer, who's the representative nationally. They get to decide who those people are. When we pushed back against that, they had zero interest in being flexible with us. And yeah, like, for the last, 2 or 3 months, we've averaged 10 to 15 people in our meetings. All of last summer, we were in the 30s. We had 30 to 35 people in each meeting. And we got to a point where structurally in New York, there's things that we need to do to be recognized as an official political organization in New York State. So you have to come together as a group, make decisions as a group, grant authority to yourselves to make these decisions and carry on the work. And finally, after all of this work has been done and there's meeting minutes and there's records of you coming together to do this work together, then you register with New York, and then you can go out and do political action here. So, we're still on that path. And, we've done all this work without MPP. We continue to do the work without MPP, and we will reach our goal of becoming a party in New York State without MPP.
Yeah, that's dope for New York, but New York's not the only one, right? Actually, multiple People's Party websites have actually disaffiliated from MPP openly on their websites. Yeah. Notice that the press doesn't talk about this, though. Complete lack of, right? I just think that it means that we can't trust the progressive media that much anymore. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, so you brought up Jimmy earlier, and, there are multiple things that have happened to keep Nick afloat. And the first time that they purged over 200 volunteers, Jimmy Dore just gave complete cover to Nick and said they were infiltrators, they were bad faith actors, they should have been removed. So, He washed Nick's hand. Nick washes his hand. They are in concert and lockstep together. And there are others that he relies on. When you look at the coverage that he's received over the last couple of weeks about the sexual harassment, Jordan Sheridan did an incredible job getting this story out there with a lot of integrity. And Nick goes on that show, and what does he do? He gets into a fight with him until he gets removed from the show. And he can say, oh, this guy's a bad faith actor. Well, then where does he turn? He turns to his friends in the media. He goes with Jason Hinkle, who, I will remind everybody, had the talking points that Nick was going to share in his official press release 2 days before the press release went out. So is it a coincidence that Jason Hinkle had the talking points before MPP even made an official statement?
Jackson Hinkle. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Jackson sucks.
Is it coincidence that Lee Camp is out there blasting the talking points? No, I don't think so, because Nick hangs out with Lee Camp in his home personally. They're good friends. Is it a coincidence that he goes on Sabby Sabs and gets a softball interview? No, because he's helped build her up in that network. So, when you look at the people pushing back against Nick, it's not his friends, but he seems to have an issue with other people being friends. It's interesting, isn't it? He'll go out there and share his message with the people that he thinks will be favorable to him, but anybody who's against him is, conspiring against him and is just trying to take him down without any basis of reality. Like, no, dude, like, you live in a vacuum of reality. Like, you are the infiltrator in MPP. You are the reason it's torpedoing. You're the iceberg to the MPP Titanic. You, the Nictator. That's it.
You're right, yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah, Nick, you got to go. You got to go. Now, the thing is that Nick's collected a lot of money. Right, yeah, he's got the mailing list. He also has, like, some other resources that are available. The
peak, they were making over $30,000 a month. They average over $20,000 a month right now.
That's crazy.
And he goes on all these shows with like a sob story where he can cry on demand, about how hard it is to keep things afloat, how much he's going into debt to make things happen. Like, bro, like,
he's boring.
No,
too. Yeah, he's
like,
boring. Yeah.
Your financial records are public with the IRS. We can look at them and see how much you're fundraising and where you're expending them. Now, you're not spending enough, so we know exactly where the money's going, but we see the categories where it's going.
Yeah.
So, like, you keep spending money on consulting fees. Who are these consultants?
Yeah.
Are they good personal friends of yours? Are they giving you money back after you cut the checks? These are all things that we don't have answers to.
What about the advisory council? Right? I've reached out to them many times. Right? Yeah. You saw me on video, right? Going at Susan Sarandon and Katie Halper's also in their sphere, their hangout clique. But other people email them to contact them. There's hundreds of people that have been left out in the cold here, right? Not just the petitioners. It's many generations over years. Also, Jonathan Martin, one of the few professors of third parties in the nation. I can't wait to see him get more involved in this thing. Yeah, he's been with us at UPA for a bunch of meetings. We're all working together, right? Yeah, that deserves.
Yeah, so like, again, this is where one of those things where Nick and the People's Party talk a good talk, but they don't walk the walk, right? Like the idea of the advisory council was to go out there and get prominent progressive voices to come in and act independently within the organization to review what's going on, provide guidance, and hold them accountable to the things that they said they were going to do. Well, instead of that meeting taking place and having these people come in and keeping them in the loop, like those meetings just never happened. And all these people are still on the website because they're so incompetent that they kick out the tech guy. They can't edit their own website to keep it up to date. So you have all these people that at one point were sold a swan song by Nick Brana and believed in him and his ability to deliver what he wanted to, but have since like pulled away from Nick and the organization. But Nick is misrepresenting that by not fixing that on the website.
Yeah.
And not living up to the ideals of what the advisory council was supposed to be and what it was supposed to do. And, this is a pattern of behavior with Nick, right? You talk the talk, but the walk is not there, right?
Keith is here at the meetings, and I'm going to... Is this? No, this is not live, so I'm going to actually poke in, right, some footage of us at the meetings. We need the people on the people that are watching you making those donations. They have and donating to this organization, MPP, have no idea. Honestly, if Washington State has already fundraised just because they're doing actual work on the ground. I think Whole Washington is working with them. They just did a show recently together. I'm also working on something called Pipe for 22. Larry, just a bunch of downstate New York Adapt. Right, they're also in disabilities. I know you have some experience working with disabilities community. We're going to, by the way, Queens Supreme Court at the end of March to protest two brothers who were have a conviction on the record. They have proof of their innocence, but the thing is that they are that would cause liability on the state behalf. And I'm sorry, one more thing I'm just going to poke in here is also we have the county committee takeover event where the thing is that the county committee actually appoints judges. That's very vital for stopping corruption. And also number two, they also appoint, right? Yeah, in special elections, 1/3 of elected officials here in New York City. It's a very powerful place to be, but unfortunately it requires 17,000 right participants, right? So it's really a true grassroots building up movement. It's rough. Yeah, that deadline's already, the ballot petitioning has already started for that. Yeah, okay, kill it, yeah. But yeah, in terms of doing stuff on the ground, that's what I'm all about. And I'm doing more than fucking Nick Brown, his whole NOC combined. What are they doing? Going ahead, having speeches, getting fake arrested.
All they're doing is kicking out people. They started with almost 70 and they're down to below 30.
Half of the whole
2 months. Yeah. 2 months, they've lost over half of the people that wanted to participate in this process with MPP.
Also it mind boggles me how these people keep making excuses for Nick Brown because he appoints one person, right? Didn't he hire Paula Jean? Didn't he hire, right? He hires these people. Did. And then,
he did.
Right, so does he have good judgment or bad judgment? People want to have it, right? Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
So the way MPP is structured is things are siloed off, right? So if you come on and you intend to work in finances, right? You only work with finance people and you don't ever interact with people outside of finance. If you come on to work as a moderator, and there are people that are moderators that are in a special group that help monitor their platforms like Reddit and Facebook and their Slack channels and Twitter. You only interact with those people. They intentionally keep you from spreading information and sharing information across all of the groups within the party. So when you bring in paid consultants, which is what Paula Jean and Sabrina Pena Young and Zainab Day were, you bring them in to fulfill specific obligations and specific tasks. So until the NOC transpired, a lot of the people that were removed in the last couple of weeks were never exposed to other experiences within the organization. They didn't have a chance to see firsthand what was happening on the grassroots level in the states where we're trying to organize. So when you get all these people into the room together, the people with the conscience will wake up to this and say, this is not what we were sold. And they're going to start asking the same questions that I was asking. Yeah. They're going to be labeled an infiltrator the same way I was. They're going to be pushed out the same way I was. It doesn't matter if you're paid or unpaid. When the wool is taken away from your eyes, you either decide to stick with Nick and go with him, or you push back against him and you're removed. Those are the two options.
Now, in each, just from watching, right, I'm not sure about Jonathan Martin's case because I wasn't there for that, right? But the thing is that in my case, right, when the founder of the MPP Washington group, Larry Alger, when Otis Buckley was moved from Illinois, right, yeah, the thing is, they, shit, a second, okay, I forget. Okay, the thing is that they actually moved in a replacement, right? There was that Jackson Hinkle because he was meant to bring him back the Tulsi community. When the petitioners were there, Islandist made a lot of weird moves, right? She was pretending to be leadership of the petitioners. I'll tell you honestly, she wasn't. It was Lisa Pfeffer and Renee. Sometimes I say, I want them to talk to me, but I'll give them credit for what they accomplished there. They put together 100 petitioners. That was a very powerful document. They have a website up. I give them full props for that particular project. That's fucking awesome.
Over 200 signatures.
And they sent someone in to actually infiltrate that, funnily enough, that they use that word. So in this cycle, right, if they follow their pattern, it would make sense that there's a move being made in the background. So I'm still, right, this is still playing out, folks. This is literally happening in real time right now. Yeah. But we can see that the cycle has already proceeded somewhat, right? It looks like the cycle is going to start to end. But there's going to be renewal.
So I can...
Go ahead.
So I can speak to two things that you just mentioned, because part of what I've done And the way I make decisions is I seek out as much information as I can before I come to a conclusion on my own, right? So I reach out and speak to people directly and ask questions when I can. Speaking to former board members that have been removed, speaking to people that were on the coordinator circle, which was kind of like their executive committee, like if you want to think of it as a corporation. The tactic that Nick employs is he has the air and appearance of wanting to make informed decisions. So he'll bring in voices that disagree with him. He'll bring in voices that agree with him, put them into a call together and have them battle it out. But he's already made up his mind. And what he'll do is drag these meetings out. So if you get together at 8 o'clock Eastern, by 3 o'clock in the morning, enough people have dropped off the call that when he pitches a proposal that people that are left just go, yeah, sure, let's do it. So he waits out people and drags it out to get to the decisions that he wants to make. Like in Jonathan Martin's case, yeah, he's a voice that was giving him perspective that he didn't want to hear. Nick didn't want to hear what Jonathan Martin had to contribute, so then he had to go. The former legal counsel of MPP, Mike McCorkle, Nick didn't like the advice he was giving. So then he becomes a problem. He's got to go. And then they go find a lawyer that's just going to parrot whatever Nick says and be his puppet, right? You can think of Nick as Jim Henson, and you can think of this new lawyer, Branson, as Kermit the Frog.
Yeah. It's pretty sad. I mean,
whatever Nick says comes through Branson's mouth.
The guy doing divorce law, I mean, come on, man. Why is he chasing freaking ambulances, man? Come on, man. Like, what is this guy?
I will, I believe strongly in second chances. The new counsel for MPP was disbarred for a period of time. I tried to look into what happened with that case, but as part of him being reinstated by the state of Maine, they sealed the records. So I wasn't entitled to receive what happened in that disbarment. The only thing I do know is that his firm was completely taken away. Like the board of lawyers in Maine controlled the finances and cases that were on his docket during that time.
Damn, nice.
Which is a typical thing that happens, but also I'm curious as to what that was. So, funnily enough, he won't answer that question. So, the people that Nick brings in and solidifies around him just are yes men.
Yeah.
Straightest terms. That's it. They're the ones who are drinking the Nick Tater Kool-Aid. They will support him no matter what, and that's the state of the party right now. They started as a progressive populist party. They're trying to fight progressives now and say that they were always a populist party, but at the same time, they hold a meeting yesterday trying to strategize on how to define what a populist party looks like. So 5 years in, they're coming to a conclusion that they need to strategize. Last night, they're talking about, oh, we need to build up state parties. Oh, so that wasn't the plan for the last 5 years, I guess. Like, we're just going to start doing that now. Like, they don't want to build a party. They don't want to run candidates. I don't know what their goal is, but clearly it is not to do those things.
Okay. So, well, I'm glad this is recorded because now I'm just going to write this. I'll probably edit this out, right? But what do you want to do in the future, man? Like, what's going on with the New York, right? Sometimes, right, there's some issues there. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad, right? There's positives about it, but I'm struggling too, man. What you want to do?
Like I said earlier, the system is built to make you lose hope that you can make a difference.
I know.
So I'm going to keep fighting to get a party off the ground here in New York. And if that leads to a coalition of other states that have built parties up and we become a new national party, cool. Yeah. I'm down for that. But I want to focus here on New York and make a direct impact in my neighbors' lives, right? The goal here is, starting very local, having direct impact on the lives of people that need the help the most, and see where it takes me. So that's the goal. I'm not going to let Nick or MPP or even the Democrats and Republicans in New York who have built this system in a way to keep independent parties from spinning up tear me down. So
yeah, I was thinking about forming a circle with you at UPA, maybe like an action circle, right? Yeah, so like people who want to just actually get shit done can get shit done instead of having to deal with the bullshit. Yeah.
I'm very down for that.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to happen because the time is right. There's too many things going in our favor that indicate that the disenfranchised voters want another option. That
Yeah.
you know, half the country doesn't even participate in electoral politics. So if we can get 5 to 10% of Democrats to come over to us, we can get progressives from like the Green Party to come over with us, we can get 10 to 15% of the people that don't even participate to come with us. Well, then we've already got a third of the country on our side. So, these are big scale and long-term goals, but I think they're very attainable. And
And YouTube World, I have
just
to
gonna
tell
keep
you,
our head down and do it.
in YouTube World, here's one of the biggest problems that I think really comes up again and again. So many YouTubers say this, and I know them personally, yeah? They'll say, I don't get involved in electoral politics. Now, I'm okay with that, but the thing is that then they have no solution. I mean, sorry, but they have no other proposed solution. Just like, fuck it, I'm just not going to do anything, right? It's just a great way to not have to do anything or address the problem, right? I'm sorry, that's just me becoming hard, but what do you see as a way to, I'm sorry, just saying my way, but I want to hear from you, right? Yeah, that's a lot of YouTubers and a lot of people watching buy into this, right? Yeah, and there's some validity to that, but what's your response to that, right? Because you're trying to build a party, and they're saying, I don't want to get involved in electoral politics. How would you respond to that? Because I get where they're coming from too. You know what I mean? I get why they're frustrated.
It's the easy way out, though. Like, it's easy to say that I wash my hands of it, that I'm not going to participate because it doesn't make a difference. But then don't bitch about it after you didn't have any part in putting the people into power that are making the decisions you don't like.
Yeah, the easy road isn't always the right road. Sometimes it is, but not always. Yeah, got to be right. Yeah.
So, when I think of like what I want to do politically is it's got to be more than just electoral politics. It's got to be grassroots activism too. There's got to be a lot of different components to it. So even if you don't want to get involved in electoral politics, cool, still come hang out with me because I'm going to find a project that you'll want to be a part of, whether it's like a community garden space or like a tool share or something, like where people can share things that they wouldn't normally have, like a library of tools and equipment that they can't afford to rent or buy. Like, there are a lot of ways that the community can come together and support each other without being directly involved in electoral politics. Now, I do think as you start to network these people together and you start getting them into different areas of volunteering within their own community, that will lend itself to political activism because they're going to be talking to people. They're going to realize at some point that, hey, we've got a pretty big group of people here. Like, we could probably elect a council member, right? We could actually do something that would impact our lives for the better. So the entry point isn't as important to me as the end goal. And I even see ourselves spinning up like an independent media here in New York too. My goal would be like the education component of electoral politics. So if I know my assembly member is making poor decisions on something, then I want to have short little clips that I can put out on YouTube and Facebook and have instructions on how to contact that assembly member and share your distaste with what they're doing. Like, small little packages of information that give people an action to complete. So here's what we think the issue is. Here's our proposed solution. Here's how to work towards it. Like, those 3 parts all presented on a silver platter. So even people that don't have, 120 hours a week to go and do all this stuff can still pick up the phone and spend 5 minutes talking to one of their staffers and get their message into the hands of the people that actually need to have it. So,
That's
don't only focus on electoral politics. There's a lot of other things to do within the state. And, building this network of activists in all areas of New York, red counties, blue counties, red cities, blue cities, doesn't matter.
I like that.
We need people across the state to go out there and do the work with their hands and feet on the ground.
Yeah.
Build this coalition and take the power back.
Yeah, it also, right, yeah, I agree with that. It doesn't have to be electoral politics. It can also be like community engagement, involvement, right, upliftment. It's, right, if you think that a party only has to be electoral politics, you're missing, it's about the community, yeah? So I like that, hell yeah. So my mind's already blown with all this stuff that you told me, right? Is there I guess that's, I just need to digest some of this, but is there any last thing that you want to share, like, about this situation? There's so many other crazy stories that I have in my mind, right? Anything that you think people are missing in this situation, or that you want to just address?
Yeah, like the big thing for me right now is that the accuser of Nick's sexual harassment hasn't come out and shared their story publicly yet, to my knowledge. Like,
Yeah.
I haven't been tuned in today to know if it happened today, but I don't think it has. So,
I think Todd's gonna
focusing
come out
specifically
I think when she come out,
on
I think
how
Todd's gonna come out. I think that's why Todd waiting.
so
We'll see.
so my thing is, I don't want to get bogged down in this like he said she said like character assassination stuff. I want to focus more on how this is a pattern of behavior, right? Like when people try to hold Nick accountable, they just get wiped out from the organization. And that includes board members. Half of the board were wiped out because they just had the audacity to do an investigation and see if there's any merit to this person's claims.
It's not like it was one
Just
person.
brushed aside.
It's not one person.
5 people
all
on
five
the
of
board.
them, all five of them infiltrated,
Gone.
right? Yeah, all of them.
Gone.
Not just normal members, board members, right? How did they get there, right? But they're not regular members. They're board members, entrusted members. Gone. 5. Okay.
So keep this focused on mismanagement and the missed opportunities that have happened over the last 5 years. Keep the energy on finding out exactly what Nick Tater's intentions are, because it's clearly not to run candidates and to build a party.
I feel like if
Keep the messaging focused.
About, like, if people could just recognize, right, yeah, like the talent that we have on board, some of it, right, yes, I'm not saying it's perfect, but if people could realize that maybe those 30 people meetings should come back, right? It should come back. The real shit is here, but they just don't know about it. It's killing me, yeah? But thank God for being there, Keith, man. The fucking man. Go ahead.
Well, the way I look at it is we're about it. Like, we're not just talking about it, like we're actually carrying through with the things we say we're going to do. We hold ourselves accountable. We look for feedback. We include people. We value every voice of anybody that has the initiative to join our meeting and share what they want to with us. We're doing things the right way here, and it's going to pay off. Like,
I've been there for like maybe a year, maybe 6 months. I don't know. It's been a while, months, definitely. Yeah, I will vouch for this shit. Yeah, it's not like I just showed up to one meeting and everything looked good on the paper, right? Yeah, no, I've been in meetings a long time. Yeah, what you're saying is real.
You know,
appreciate it.
Maybe I'm naive. Maybe I'm a little too optimistic, but I think as we start doing the work and going out into the community and showing people that we actually do the things we say we're going to do, like it's going to gain momentum and carry itself to the end goal. Like it's not going to need somebody manipulating it from behind the scenes or like trying to direct things into their own image. Like the people actually want to do this, and the people will do it. Yeah,
that's right. And the only way you can do that is by showing up. Yeah. So please show up. This is a dope organization. This is a guy that's, gonna help keep things on the level, and I will too, if I can. Yeah. Thank you so much, man. I believe in you, man. God bless. Keith Frank. That's the fucking name right there. Don't forget the fucking name. Don't forget the fucking name, Keith Frank. Yeah. All right. God bless.
It's a dark day in our nation when high-level authorities will seek to use every method to silence dissent. The truth must be told.
And if you want the truth, you need to check out independent media producers just like myself, DJ L7. You should subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications when I release a new video.
The truth of these
we
words
are on all
is
the
beyond doubt.
That includes Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Unfortunately, we have definitely seen that these mainstream outlets will cave to corporate interests, so we encourage you to join our independently moderated communities of Reddit and Discord. We also encourage you to subscribe to us on BitChute and Dailymotion so you can see the content that YouTube doesn't want us to let you see. Hey, now it's time for the most important part of the video. That's right. It's time for us to tell you about the Taking Action Group. Do you need an activist? or maybe there's no activists around willing to help you with your cause and you need to learn to become an activist. That's exactly why we're here. Every week we get up with people from across the nation, in fact even sometimes internationally, and we develop strategies and a game plan to address the issues that are affecting all of us. Every week myself from New York City and of course my co-host Lisa from Los Angeles provide a coast-to-coast perspective on what's going on in the country. If you want to donate to help out with expenses, travel, equipment, stuff like that, then I definitely appreciate it, and you can hit us off at Venmo or PayPal. Thanks a lot. Hey, by the way, we also have a merch store, so check it out. Oh my goodness, it seems like you've reached the end of the video, so make sure you check out some of our other videos. Make sure you subscribe. This is your last chance to do so thanks a lot. And looking forward to seeing you on the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. Please comment below if you have any questions or issues you'd like me to address. And if you're an activist, the time to make things happen is now.